So hi guys, my name is Josh Barsley and welcome to the weekly talk show segment of the Entrepreneur Vlog. So my background is that I am the co-owner of Avalanche Enterprise. I'm also a property investor. We run a property investment company called Grows Barsley, which is actually situated just behind us in that office over there. The aim for these videos is to provide you with our lows, our highs, our key learnings and some previous questions from our network over what's happened in the last week.
I'm Jake Neal. I'm another co-owner of Avalanche Enterprise, and I've been in the business for over 2 years now, and it's been growing steadily ever since I started. Don't know what was going on before that.
It was killing it before you turned up. Downhill from there. Carry on.
So, as we said, what we want to do in this video is we want to go through our learnings from the last week, and what we want to do is we want to help you to kind of see what our learnings are, but we want you to watch us as we learn more, and each week we can take what we've learned and implement it and do better the following week. So what that's going to cause is a compound effect, and
Absolutely.
each week we're going to know more. We will have made mistakes in the last week and we'll know what we're doing from that point on.
That's why I think this video is going to differentiate from the others that are out there, is because we're not just going to focus on the highs, we're not going to focus on giving you a fake reality. We want to focus on our negatives so that we can sort of convey our learnings from those negatives and provide you with a real life, the real life situation. So I think that sort of fits us quite nicely into the first section, which is our lows and highs of the week. So I think we'll start on the lows. Jacob.
So my low of the week was this week. I had a sales call and I did excellent, if I do say so myself.
You did a pretty good job.
But I got them ready to sign, and then before I actually sent the contract, there was a few day gap in the middle, and by the time I sent the contract, they had forgotten that they had already been ready to sign, and so I had to go through the entire sales process with them again, knowing that they wanted to buy the service that we could offer, and it was really frustrating for me to have to go through it step by step again.
Yeah, exactly. So what was your key learning from that?
So my key learning from that is that at the end of every call, at the end of every meeting, there's got to be a call to action, and you've got to go straight on, strike while the iron is hot, if you will.
Yeah.
So if I'd sent that contract straight away, I could have had that sale without the extra half an hour sales call that it took. And
the positive of that is that you've done another sales call. You're even better on the phone now than you were before. Exactly. So my low is again similar to Jacob in terms of spending a lot of time with something that we didn't necessarily want to spend time on. One of my, let's say, what would you call it? Hindrances. Would you sort of hindrance?
Depends what you're going to say next.
Yeah, sort of lows. I struggle to convey emotions properly in emails and things like that, and we're working on that. But this week I got quite sort of angry at clients that I would have previously classed as downgraded clients. So clients that were causing me a lot of stress, causing me to spend a lot of time on their work over what they pay us to do. And I'm not talking like a small amount, I'm talking lots of it. And I think that was a low for me. Although the low was getting angry at it, not actually doing it. I think that the learning from that for me was that you've got to look at every single minute you spend on a client, even if it's over time. You've got to look at it as an investment, because you're investing in a long-term relationship. Because we all know that retaining someone is 8 times cheaper than buying a new customer. So the idea is that you retain a customer for a long time, you build a great relationship with them, you get to the point where they trust you, so you can really perform in what it is you do. And we need that trust in Avalanche to perform well. Without that trust, we can't perform to the best of our abilities. So that was definitely my low of the week. But I feel like I've reflected on that quite well in that situation there. I think this camera's forcing me to.
And the best thing about this is that we are forced to look at our lows and what we've done to cause that, and then moving forwards we're going to be able to correct the mistakes.
Absolutely. Alright, then let's go on to the nice part. Highs.
So what was your high?
So my highs, I have 2 highs. So one is that we have a really exciting product coming out in January.
January is when we're aiming for.
And it is a next level product for us. It's very much in the communications and marketing sort of sphere, and really excited about that. And this week we had the partner company that we're working with here to discuss that around the table. It was really exciting, and I can't wait to share that with you guys as it develops. My other high was that we actually hit 15 sales in the month of September, which is 50% higher than our target of 10. Just phenomenal feeling.
As you probably saw on the other video, we hit our first target last week.
Which was 10.
And so that's when we had our champagne, but we've continued to just do better and better.
Yeah, we've absolutely killed it, I feel. It's great. Next month we better kill it more, because we have now this to make us accountable.
And such a high standard that we started with.
Indeed. Right, your high.
So my high was that this week, for the first time, I attended something called Growth Club, which is one of the events that our partner company, Action Coach, runs. And it's all about planning your next 90 days for the business. But on top of that, it's about the networking that you can do in the area, in that event, and the learnings that you get from that event, because they have brilliant speakers and people who go all up and down the country to speak. And I really enjoyed that. And one of the things that I thought I wasn't very good at and that I need to work on and improve at is my networking skills. And I went there with the idea to improve it, and I came away with 4 business cards for people who I think are going to become clients. So I think I can't be as bad as I thought I was. And that was a very nice realisation for me.
And the good thing about Growth Club as well is it is all about 90-day planning. So what a lot of businesses do is they plan for, say, a year. They don't plan, in the short-term space enough. We're always taught to plan the next day or the next week. 90 days is a very big part of the plan. And one of our mentors, Terry Matthews, is constantly on us for quarterly reports, and without a 90-day plan, trying to write a quarterly report and going back through everything is difficult. So it's good to have that 90-day plan. You can set goals, you can set targets, and Growth Club for us is that place, to do that.
Completely.
And we're massive fans of Action Coach and what they do with these different clubs as well. So that leads us quite nicely on to the next section, which is what is your biggest learning of the week? That's a good question.
That is a very good question.
I like that.
See, my biggest learning I would again take from my low, because that had such a big impact on me, because it did take such a big chunk out of my actual day. There was a lot of time that I spent reflecting on that, and there was more time than I should have spent feeling annoyed about that, and feeling annoyed at myself for not signing the opportunity straight away, and then because of my mistake having to go back and go through the process again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my biggest learning, because that is something that I definitely don't want to be repeating.
It's all about time. I think that's what we're kind of seeing here, is that I'm going to go on to my key learning of the week as well, and it all refers back down to time. So it's about thinking like that. Okay, so let's figure out how to be more productive with our time, and plan ahead for these situations.
Completely.
My key learning, going back to clients, not the same sort of client, not the same sort of me getting angry. I didn't get angry at anyone, but it was the basis of getting touchy about spending so much time on our current client base. So spending huge amounts of time doing things over what our product is, over what our service is, and here's me thinking, okay, so we could be spending that time on more clients, more services, bettering our products, product development. And then it was Jacob that said to me, you have to look at what comes from that investment, and you have to look at that time that comes from that investment. And we've seen this a few times, and one of the things I was thinking about was, we had a client previously that we were spending so much time with, and it wasn't because we were doing a bad job or they wanted us to put in more effort because we weren't doing the job we were doing, but it's because they wanted it, and we did it, and we worked and we worked and we worked, and that opened up a door which has now given us a return on investment of hundreds and hundreds of thousands of times. So it's about thinking about your time spent with your clients and refining your product as an investment, and that was definitely my key learning.
Excellent learning. I think that's the really good point. Actually, again, referring back to the vlog that we did last week, one of the things that we spoke about was the quote of, you have what in your bank account? How much?
I can't remember exactly, about £86,400.
How many seconds a day worth of pounds in your bank account? How are you going to let each of those pounds work for you, and what's going to happen if you lose someone? And
don't sweat if £10 gets missing.
Yeah, and I think that's something that, although we actually found that and we took that and used it in the vlog, that's something that we needed to actually utilise a bit more in our week, because we both had issues with time where we focused on it a bit too much.
Exactly. We've got double as busy in the last month, and we've got 2 new full-time staff starting on Monday, and we're so ready and we're so pumped to get forward, and we're doing a fantastic job. We've got 100% satisfaction rate with all of our clients and stuff, so it's a fantastic ability, but it's just now getting busier. We have to become more time conscious and more we have to become more productive with our time.
We do. But that's also going to come into it when we have a team that's going to continue to grow.
It's compounding. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Right, so this next section is a section that we want to do with you guys. We want to do it with the viewers over time, and as the sort of viewer base of this talk show grows. Obviously, this is week 1, so we couldn't go out to our viewer base and ask you what your questions were, but we did go out to our network. We've got quite a large network here at Avalanche, and we asked for 5 questions that they wanted to ask us about us. It doesn't have to be about marketing. It doesn't have to be about us personally. It could just be about things that we like to talk about. So, Jacob, what is your background?
So my background is that I've always been entrepreneurial, and I've always been interested in business.
Yeah.
Wherever I've been and however old I've been, whether I was in high school or sixth form or when I went to university, I always managed to find myself in entrepreneurial competitions, trying to do my own entrepreneurial things to make money, and in business competitions. And that's actually where I met Josh, because we both went to Swansea University and we both entered a competition where we were given £250 to try and start our own business and see how far we could get in a very restricted time frame.
That's good.
It was really good fun, and because it was a restricted time frame, it meant you had to do as much as you could in a really short space of time.
£250 is that business, yeah.
So that's actually where I met Josh, and that's where I started getting more heavily involved in all manner of entrepreneurial things. So that's when I then moved into Avalanche after me and Josh had a very successful running back competition, with one of us coming first.
Second. I do realise that I came second, but I actually developed my product, whereas Jacob sort of bullshit his way to the podium.
I had a phenomenal concept.
That is, entrepreneurial of you.
Yeah.
To win it without actually doing anything.
The minimum amount of work. It's not lazy, it's efficient.
I just took my 250 and gave it straight to an app developer and said, can you build it for me? And he did, and I got me second. So actually what we did with that competition was won a chance to go and spend a month with Terry Matthews in Canada. So Terry Matthews is a Welsh billionaire, founder of Newbridge Networks, Mitel, huge corporations, multi-billion-dollar corporations. I think Newbridge sold for something stupid like $10 billion, and we got to spend a month with him, live in his property, meet 25 of his CEOs, work in his offices, and it was just insane. Terry continues to be a solid mentor for us, and is constantly on us and working with us, so it's great fun.
And we can always see how the things that we learnt with him we've incorporated into the business.
Absolutely.
And with what Josh said earlier about him always being honoured us for quarterly reports and how important they are, and then how important they are in your planning, it's great for us to be building our business based around the same kind of values that he built these multi-billion-dollar corporations from.
It's the ecosystem, right?
The ecosystem.
Right.
So that was my background, and I was doing that at university while I was doing my aerospace engineering degree, which is not nearly as fun as it sounds, but I had to do something.
Taught you a lot about business though.
Aerospace engineering? It taught me that aerospace engineering is interesting, is the polite way of saying really dull.
Yeah.
So, the next question. Josh, what, in your opinion, is next for social media marketing?
Okay, interesting question. Okay, so as you probably know, Avalanche Enterprise is predominantly a social media service provider. So we look after clients' social media in a slightly different way to most. And what I think is that we're definitely there in terms of what's next in terms of social media marketing. We provide a service which is much more focused on nurturing and value and providing the customer with an experience that they actually want to experience. And I think that understanding is what's next for social media. Companies that are still doing the straight up content, they're just posting regularly and they're just doing stuff about their company, that is, they're marketing like it's 2005. They're stuck in that space because in 2005 we used to actually listen to email blasts, and we used to listen to being directly sold online, whereas now we don't. So business and people and technology have evolved, but the way we market to those people hasn't.
And you can see that from the massive drop in engagement rates in all forms of online marketing.
Plummeted.
Since about 2007, when people got over the fact that it was new and instead just started being irritated by these.
And what you've got to realise is that, whereas back in the day this was all new, this technology, well, this is pretty new, but this technology was new and it was exciting and new, and we saw banner ads and we saw ads and we just clicked them and it worked. Whereas now we still think that it works that way, and what we don't realise is that there's still someone behind this computer. There's still someone here that we actually have to sell to or create enough value that they actually understand and want to buy our service. So what I think is next for social media is businesses have got to get into that space of providing the customer with an experience that they actually want to have. And I think that is, if you can nail that with your company, then you're going to be doing a great job. That's my opinion.
Lovely. I thought you would have talked about virtual reality.
Oh yeah, but next after that, once all the businesses are doing that and that's saturated, VR straight up.
That's going to be a very exciting one for us to get involved in.
To myself in 20 years' time, you better own the biggest VR advertising company in the world. Like, you better do that.
And now you are held accountable to everyone who ever watches this video.
Exactly, perfect. Sounds good. Okay. Oh, it's you now.
It is.
Okay, so do you have any fears about bringing on full-time staff? Interesting question.
Very interesting question.
First of all, it's good to define fear.
It is good to define fear. But firstly, I would like to just reiterate that we are bringing on our first full-time staff members. Now we've got this gorgeous office, we want to start filling it as much as possible. And there are, I'm not sure if fears would be the right word, but there is some anticipation.
Perturbation, maybe.
Perturbation.
Sort of like, you've got that, like, it's like not like a procrastination, but you're like, okay, I need it, we've got to take that step, and it's that fear of taking that leap. I think
for me, taking on full-time staff is a really big responsibility as employers. There's an awful lot that we have to have in place for these people, and by providing these jobs, it's a massive part of their lives.
Exactly. You're taking care of them, their livelihood, so that is
So that's where the responsibility comes on employers, which is quite scary.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's really exciting, and that's what's needed for Avalanche to take the next step. And the other thing is, adding more full-time members to the team. The more the team grows, the better it's going to be for the company, but it's just going to be great for us.
The better it's going to be for the service too, because as much as it's all great to bring full-time staff and have fancy offices, if you don't provide a good service for your clients, you're not going anywhere.
And you won't have a fancy office or full-time staff.
As much as we're thinking about products and thinking about the future, we've got to think about our current service and our current clients. And we've doubled our client base in the last month, which has been insane. And we just got to keep providing value and keep trucking along, keep our heads down, keep those results coming, and we'll be fine. We'll grow like this, and I'm sure we will. Yeah, cool. Final question.
Final question for this section is, Josh, how did you get your...
What does it say?
I have no idea, I can't read that.
First client.
First client.
How did I get my first client? Good
Not
question.
by his writing abilities.
Yes. So, first client. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my first client after my dad. That's probably a good thing to start. So I started Avalanche in my university bedroom. I know, relatively cliche, but it genuinely happened. I'm not sort of exaggerating that. Ellis bought into his Action Coach franchise and asked me to do the social media marketing for him. I did that, and it worked really, really well. And I thought, I was living off about 30 quid a week at that point because they just invested everything into their business. The government wouldn't support me because previously they earned a lot of money, even though that money had all gone into their new business. So I was living pretty on the cheap, and I suddenly started getting about 200 quid a month to do social media, and I thought, wow, this is interesting. I'm spending 4 hours a week and I'm earning £200 a month doing social media, and I'm really good at it and it works. So I thought, okay, let's build a business. I got some business cards from Vistaprint. I created a proposal and then went networking because that's the only thing I could think of. Also social media for obvious senses. So I went networking. I networked for about 6 months. I stood up and I did all these breakfast shows. I was like spluttered. Didn't get anywhere. Didn't get one client for 6 months. One client. And then one day, I was doing a presentation at a networking event because that's the sort of level I built myself up to, just thinking, okay, I'm crap at this networking aspect of it right now. I need to do something that's going to work. So I did a presentation, and a gentleman came up to me and said, look, let's have a chat. And within the next week he'd signed on, and then it just went like this, because he gave his testimonial. We had Ellis's testimonial. Ellis started to gain clients, and we did a referral system with him, and that's when the business was born. And thinking about that and thinking about where we are now is pretty insane. It's pretty cool. So that's how I got my first client, through hard work, real hard work, and just push for it. you'll learn. I learned way more in those first 6 months than I probably learned, in the 20 years before me, the 18 years before me, sorry. And I think that's because I just forced myself to go in a situation where I was super uncomfortable. And even though I failed like every single time I went networking, like 3 or 4 times a week, spent like 600 quid on networking, it's fine. It worked out.
Something great that I read this week was if you're not pushing at your comfort zone and going outside of it, then you're not going to grow. And it sounds like that's what you did, and that's why you were able to learn.
Yeah, it's thinking about that now. I haven't really thought about that. I'm thinking about that now. I'm thinking about like when we're trying to convey to these guys, if they're starting businesses or getting clients, or if you've got a big business and you're trying to get more clients or push a new product, then you know the feeling. Just get out there and do it. Find out where your customer base is and just work your way into it somehow. And just keep going, you'll find a way.
And it doesn't matter if it takes 6 months for you to properly get started, because...
Or you stand up and embarrass yourself in front of 25 people at a networking event, they're all double your age.
Repeatedly,
over and over again.
But it doesn't matter, because in the end you end up
with an
doing
office
it.
and a team and, really cool business. Awesome. What's the next session?
I have no idea.
Right. Okay, so... I want to talk about the compounded sort of. We spoke briefly about it before. So what I sort of said this next section would be talking about the compounded effect of what we want these videos to be. So if you want to just briefly talk about that.
Yeah. So as we said, this video is about our key learnings and what we're going to take from this week, and we're going to improve on and build upon for next week. And so over time, we're going to have more and more things that we've learned and more things that we're improving on. So hopefully that's going to create a snowball effect, and you're going to see us improve rapidly, because each week we're going to be adding to what we know, and we're going to have a video to hold us accountable, so we'll remember what it is that we're not going to do.
All we want to do is give you a raw reflection of what is going on here at Avalanche HQ, and the ups and downs, the sideways, the everything that happens. And we've got this weekly vlog, the entrepreneur vlog, that comes out on a Monday morning. It is literally us filming the week before and adding it together in a sequence that is the truth of what's actually happened in the week.
Completely.
And then doing these on a Friday and just providing you with utmost value. So please give us a subscription, give us a thumbs up, and we will hope to see you next Friday for the